Okay, now we're on to number 2. So we've identified our why, we're clear on our purpose, we understand how making this commitment will make our life better. Now it's time to get real with what is our available time to prepare for this event. And what I do is I go through this time audit, okay? And what this time audit is it identifies your non-negotiable priorities. What your non-negotiable priorities are the things that you have to do every day that require your time. So I have this little chart here, and you see on the left side column, there is 9 different things there. So you have meals, work, family, sleep, social, transport, and then there's a total column there. And then you'll have at the end of that what your available time is. And I have Monday to Friday, and I have Saturday and Sunday, because this is an example for me because my Monday and Fridays are pretty similar as far as time commitments. Saturday and Sundays, again, pretty similar. Yours may be different, and that's okay. So in the handout that I gave you, I actually break it down day by day. So there's a column for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and there's a column for Saturday and Sunday. So you can take that and actually, write in your own. If they're the same Monday to Friday and the same Saturday and Sunday, that's fine. The other thing that's important here is available training time must include traveling to training venues. A lot of people don't consider that when they're putting together their training time. They don't consider the time it takes to, say, if they're swimming, traveling to the pool and back. Say if they go to a gym to do some strength work, or they have a particular class that they go to, or maybe they do some running session at the track and then they have to travel to and from the track. That's time. So you have to consider that when you're putting that into your available training time. Now, in putting this in context, we're going to walk through that chart a little more closely in a second, but when you're picking your distance based on your strong understanding and your clear understanding of your available time to prepare, is important to be able to show up to the race confident and ready and be able to enjoy the journey from start to finish. If you sign up for an event that requires, or even buy a plan, there's tons of plans out there on the interwebs that you can buy. But the challenge with those types of plans are they don't consider your life circumstances. So if you pick a plan that, say, at some points requires you to train, 12 or 15 hours a week, and you only have 8 to 10 hours of available training time a week, that's going to be a stretch. And that's actually going to make that journey stressful for you and not enjoyable. So either one of two things is going to happen. You're going to not complete the plan and not be as prepared as you should be, or you're going to have to cut out a bunch of things in your life that maybe are things that are important to you or enjoyable, or that provide a lot of value to you. So you have to make some decisions for sure. So just to think about that. Now, what I want you to do is bring out your part 2 in that handout I gave you in your variable time to train. If you don't have that, that's okay. You can even just quickly jot that down on a sheet. So if you have an open sheet there, just have that handy with a pen or a pencil, and you can fill in your own little quick calendar or time availability. So like I said, what is your realistic daily available time to train? It's important to consider all life commitments outside of training that are non-negotiable. So your work, your family time, any social stuff you have to do on a weekly basis, volunteer work, whatever stuff is non-negotiable, you have to do that. So whatever is left over, after you sleep in a 24-hour period, that's going to be your available training time. So what I want you to look at it is, when you look at that schedule, is that a 10 out of 10 schedule? And what I mean by that is, if you were to look at that schedule and complete it, you would be able to say, yeah, I can do this with 10 out of 10 confidence. Definitely. It's definitely manageable given all my commitments that I have. This schedule will work for me. That's where you want to start. So when you're building a schedule for yourself and deciding what kind of commitment you can make, start with your 10 out of 10 time availability. That's what you want to work with. And the last little question here I have at the bottom is, does your family support your commitment? This is crucial. Because if your family doesn't support your commitment, that's going to be a problem. So it's important to know that your family will support you and is on your team to help you complete this goal that's so important to you. All right. So now let's get into it. So let's fill out your time available to train chart. So your time available to train, what we're looking at here is identifying your non-negotiable priorities. Okay. You may have extra columns in here of other things that are important. Okay. So could be other things that you want to add into here. Whatever they are, that's fine. You can add them in. Sometimes I'll put those in like a social component, or sometimes it's in a family, or whatever the case may be. So you can add those in as needed. So this is an example of mine. Like I said, my Monday and Friday are pretty similar. So for example, I have 2 hours for meals per day. I work 8 hours per day. Family, 3 hours per day that I'm committed to do specific things with them. Sleep, 7.5 hours a day. Social, 1 hour a day. And then transport, usually around 30 minutes a day. I don't travel too much during the day, during the week. And then total, that gives me 22 hours. So that leaves me with 2 hours of available training time, or during the week, 10 hours per week. Okay, Monday to Friday period. All right. Then Saturday and Sunday, okay, I have 2 hours of meals again. I work for 3 hours. I do some coaching on the weekend. Family, 5 hours. And then sleep, 7.5, still the same. Social, 2 hours. Transport, 1 hour. And then that leaves me with a total of 20.5 hours. So on Saturday and Sunday, I have an extra 3.5 hours there. So a total of 7 hours between Saturday and Sunday. So my total for the week is 17 hours. Okay. So that gives me, that's in an ideal world that this schedule works out perfectly. Again, if your available training time is 17 hours, you don't want to pick a plan that's 17 hours. You want to pick a plan that takes into consideration what you're currently doing for training. So you want to start in around that area, but also considering on a conservative level, what would be a reasonable amount to train that allows me to do everything I need to do from a non-negotiable priority time, and leave me a little bit left over for flex time. So because I have 17 hours, I might be training, let's say right now, if I think about it, probably maybe 8 to 9 hours a week, I would say. So that therefore, that leaves me a lot of room to work with, and that's a comfortable 10 out of 10 place for me to be. I can manage that. So just consider that when you're putting your program together. You have to take into consideration where your training as far volume is right now, and then your available training time with some room for flexibility. All right, how do you pick the right distance for you? Again, we talked about this last presentation. This will give you an idea. Give yourself a comfortable amount of time to prepare for the event. So for example, in a sprint, you'll need about 3 to 4 months, 4 to 5 hours a week. A standard 6 months, you need 5 to 7 hours per week. Half Ironman 70.3, you need about 9 months, 8 to 11 hours per week. And Ironman 12 months, 10 to 14 hours a week. Now, this is general, okay? but it can it can go and ebb and flow. It might be less at some times, maybe it might be more at some times as you say you're getting closer to that event. But generally speaking, these are average training hours. Okay. So that gives you a sense of, okay, what's the commitment time-wise that I'm having to think about and consider.